Board of Trustees. Hold on, I have to click something. And our decision tonight is not final. These cases will go before the Board of Trustees at one of their meetings. They meet on the first and third Monday of every month, and they will have the final vote to the resolution of these cases. Also, I'm going to read this. Due to the surge in COVID-19 cases, this meeting is being held virtually. Members of the public who wish to comment as to an item on the published agenda must submit their statement or question in writing to Matt Brandmeier at matt.brandmeier@skokie.org. And all properly submitted statements or questions will be presented to the Board of Commissioners and made part of the record. Written comments may also be submitted by email to public comments, that's one word, at skokie.org, or by mail to the Village of Skokie, attention Matt Brandmeier, 5127 Oakton Street, Skokie, Illinois, 60077, or via the village's drop box located by the public entry to Village Hall. Before we begin, I'd like to take a roll. Bob Quain is absent. Cindy Franklin.
Here.
Okay, Matt Shaw.
Here.
Okay, Ross Matei. Jeff Berman.
Here.
And who else do we have? We have Talia. You
Here.
I'm sorry, coffee. So, and I believe, did I get everybody? Ross, and Sheila Lacani is absent. Okay, so we do have a quorum, and first order of business is to ratify the minutes from the last meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the last?
Motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, minutes have been approved.
Aye.
Tonight we have three cases. Cases 2022-01P, site plan amendment at 3722E. A related case 2022-02P, special use permit also at 3722E. And 3022-03P, special use permit also at 3722E. I will entertain to have all three cases presented at one time. And do we have the people from Chick-fil-A or from a associate group representing the case? Who is that?
Tim and Joe are here.
Tim and Joe. Okay, Tim and Joe. I'm going to ask you to swear in virtually. So if you'll just affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, say so. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's good. Okay, very good. Gentlemen, you have the floor. Can you give us an overview of your request tonight for all three cases?
Mr. Chairman, before that began, I'll just mention the notice was proper and correct.
I was just going to get to you, Tyler. I'm sorry. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Chairman Luke. This is Tim Haig with Skokie Development LLC, the developer for the property. And I'm joined tonight by Joe Barberini from HR Green on behalf of Chick-fil-A. So as you may recall, a few years back, we were before your commission working on a redevelopment of this general area, the northeast corner of Toohey Avenue and Hamlin. The subject property we're asking for your consideration tonight is a portion of that larger site. the vacant pad located at 3720 Tui Avenue, as you previously introduced. The overall site that we came before you a few years back was 3 parcels that we had assembled. It combined, it was about 4.25 acres. We did a few things with you previously with the village. We rezoned it from M3 to B2 commercial. And then there were the site plan approval process we went through and a couple special uses associated with the Bona restaurant. Bona restaurant occupies lot 1 of the 4-lot subdivision. Lot 2 is the common parking lot in the middle of the development. Lot 3 is the Lurie's Children's Hospital facility. And then lot 4 is the subject property that we'll discuss tonight. Lot 4, as I mentioned, is a vacant pad. It has not been approved. That parcel is 39,126 square feet. Has originally contemplated in the initial zoning approvals, we had kind of a placeholder for lot 4, not knowing what we were going to do with it. And that site plan represented about a 10,500 square foot retail building that could have accommodated a few businesses. We did not move forward with that portion of the development. We have since entered into a sale purchase contract with Chick-fil-A. And that brings us here tonight. So with that, Joe, I'll turn it over to you and you can walk us all through the development particulars.
Sounds good, Tim. Thanks. I will share my screen and let's see. Let me get this to work here. Let me know if everybody can see.
We can see
That.
there you go.
Perfect. Okay. So as Tim had mentioned, the proposal before you tonight is this Chick-fil-A, which is lot 4, which is located at the corner here of the development. Here's Tui and Hamlin up here. The Bona Beef, the Lurie's is over here. And so this is kind of just an overall just layout of how the property is assembled. The more of a blow up of the site plan. Let me increase this, zoom this in a little bit here, just so you can see it. There we go. So layout of the building, it's roughly a 4,500 square foot quick service restaurant, located fronted off of Tui, dual drive-through lane proposed to go around the store to provide ample stacking and service for the facility. And then a parking lot out in front with the trash enclosure off to the side. The one thing you'll probably notice that's a little bit different on the site layout versus the Chick-fil-A that is currently in the village is that this is a full 2-lane drive-through. And really the concept of this full 2-lane drive-through was born out of COVID, much like a lot of other things have been. And as we all, kind of went through that and the dining rooms closed and Chick-fil-A saw a surge in dining or in drive-through traffic, they realized that the 2 full lanes, which they call dual flex, was a needed necessity to get more cars to the drive-through lane. And the reason why they call it dual flex is really this outer lane is really up to how the operator sees fit to use it. So they could use it for full 2-lane fulfillment, or they could use the outer lane as a bypass, or they could use the outer lane for third-party vendor or third-party meal pickup. So there's quite a few options that could be used for that outer lane. And again, it's up to the operator to see how they best want to utilize that. And really, it's for the peak hours and peak times. That being lunch and dinner is when you're going to see obviously the larger amount of vehicles that will be attending the Chick-fil-A. So that outer lane will provide that flexibility for them to service those vehicles as they come. In addition to that, there's 2 canopies. There's a canopy over here and there's another canopy over here by the pickup window. So by the order points, with the canopy over the order points, the main purpose of that is for really to provide some protection for their team members. So during those peak periods, there'll be up to 4 to 6 team members out in this area that'll be taking orders via an iPad to speed up the ordering process. The same holds for the pickup window. There's another canopy that goes across both drive-through lanes, and there's a series of team members that will also be fulfilling orders to vehicles in both lane 1 and lane 2 if the operator so chose to use both lanes for meal fulfillment. And when I get to the elevations, I'll show you some of these other things, but right where the pickup window is, there's also what they call a drive-through door, which in the event when they're utilizing both lanes for meal fulfillment, the pickup window turns into an actual door that opens that allows them to take meals out of, this is called the cockpit, quicker, so that they can service, up to 6 vehicles under this canopy at a time to keep this moving quickly and efficiently so that we can prevent spillage outside of the entry of the drive-through ring with stacking and things of that nature. So this is, again, one of the newer concepts that Chick-fil-A just started implementing, again, just born out of COVID. There's only been a handful of stores in the Midwest and in the Chicagoland area that have this. Some of those just recently opened, I'd say at the end of last year and beginning of this year. And so far, the success of this has been pretty wildly successful for Chick-fil-A. So looking for that to be a huge plus for this location. Let me go to the next plan here. So elevation-wise, building is all brick, just like the current location. More of a, this location is more of a darker tan with a lighter tan on top. And actually, let me go back to this one here. That drive-through door that I mentioned earlier, that's right in this location here. Nope, sorry, not that location. That is the main entry. We're on the side here. Drive-through door is right here. So you can see the canopy that is over the top of the pickup window. And this is the drive-through door. So during regular, I'll call non-peak hours, it's a regular pickup window like you would see at any drive-through facility. And then in the peak hours, this actually turns into a door where this opens and the team members can efficiently walk in and out of the building and pull orders so they can service the vehicles that would be under this canopy. And that's typically about 6 cars. These are just some perspectives of what the building will look like from a couple of different vantage points. Landscaping wise, again, attractively landscaped, all Chick-fil-A sites, as well as the one that's currently in town is attractively landscaped. Chick-fil-A likes to go above and beyond because, again, in their eyes, the site is the first thing that the customer sees. So they want to go, above and beyond so that it looks inviting. It's a place that you can, that you would want to visit to eat. And that's kind of the first line for them. And obviously the experience inside the store would be the second one. So the proposed landscaping is it's a variety of deciduous trees, ornamental shrubs, deciduous trees, evergreen trees, ornamental trees, as well as both deciduous and evergreen shrubs, perennials, and some ornamental grasses. Again, proposed landscaping here to screen the headlights as the cars come around the corner, so there's no wash out on Tui. Same thing in this corner, beefed up the landscaping as well to kind of prevent that wash as those cars are making the turn. And again, the landscaping has been enhanced as much as we can in all the landscape areas that we have, again, to provide that presentable appearance for the site. And signage wise, so this is the proposed sign. So that there's a shared sign that's out there today that's off of Tui. Chick-fil-A would just have a panel on that sign, and that would be the panel at the bottom. This is kind of the panel that they would have. And then from a building signage perspective, it'd be a sign on either on each elevation, script sign over the main entry, and then icon signs on the shorter elevations, and another script sign on the rear elevation. And I think the only thing I had here is just some pictures of what the canopy looks like, which is the canopy that's over the odor point. The one that is over the pickup window is very similar to this. So nothing too extrusively high. I think the clear on this is 9 foot. Again, it's really there to provide protection for not only the team members that are standing out there taking orders, but also for the customers as they're placing orders, rolling their window down. They have some protection from the elements. And with that, that's all I had. Obviously, be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Tim, did you have anything that you wanted to close with or open to questions?
So what is the total square foot, the floor area?
Sorry again, was that?
What is the total square foot for the floor area?
4,500 square feet for the building.
So you have, how many parking space available?
We have, I want to say it was, oh, sorry. Let me get back to my Zoom here. So we have, so proposed on site, we have 20, where's my number here? 30, there's 32 on site, plus we have the ability to share 8 spaces that are in this location here. Let me show you where those are at. Actually, let me go back to the overall. We have these parking spaces, 8 spaces over here that have been allocated for the Chick-fil-A. So a total of 40.
So you are 5 space short. I think it requires a 10 space for every 1,000 square foot floor area.
Right. So we had the, go ahead.
No, go ahead. But I think you were going to say.
Yeah, we had the ability to share parking throughout the development. So we have the ability to utilize all the rest of the parking that's in this. This is lot 2, which this parking is shared between the Bona as well as the Lorries.
Okay.
Joe, I think the only other thing I would add for that is when we went through the initial zoning, there was an interpretation of the parking at 10 cars per 1,000 attributable to the restaurants, but there was also a deduct of some of the non-public areas. And I don't know, Matt, if we got into that level of detail, but it's by comparison's sake, the Bona restaurant, which is a footprint of 4,700 square feet, had a requirement of 42 parking stalls.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So
yeah, extrapolated out to the size of the proposed Chick-fil-A, that would be about 40 parking stalls. And then that kind of ties into the reference by Joe of 32 on the primary lot for Chick-fil-A parcel, and then 8 stalls within that lot 2, that center parking area. And then from a practical standpoint, I think I would just add, commissioners, that since the development has been open, that lot 2, which is that center lot, comprised of 70 parking stalls, really rarely sees much utilization happening in that area, somewhere between 10 to 20%. So we think to date we've got a site that is functioning with a lot of empty parking stalls.
I think Tim is correct. I think we did a parking determination probably during the Bona beef case. Is that right, Matt? Do you remember? Oh, you weren't here, but do you know?
Yeah.
Have you seen that report?
Yeah. So I tried to simplify it for the report, but on the balance, they have an excess of, I think, around 20 spaces overall. So this is judged, it's an amendment of the overall plan, not just the site. And each of these uses share spaces. So yeah, that's what I subtracted the total parking they have on these lots, overall, and then subtracted out the uses, and they're about 20 spaces over. So I just tried to simplify it for the plan, for the report.
Well, the only question that I have, if one of you gentlemen could just present it into the record, what are the hours of operation?
Hours of operation are typically 6:30 to 10.
And is the drive-through open during those times?
That is correct. Drive-through open is open through those times.
And you're the company, but by company policy, you are closed on Sundays. Is that correct?
You are correct, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions of the commissioners, for the petitioners?
Question related to the outdoor seating.
Yes,
What's
go ahead.
What's the square footage? Do you know that of the patio area?
You know, off the top of my head, I don't. You know, the area is really in front of the Chick-fil-A. There's a couple of tables out and on north of west of the main entry and east of the main entry, but I could probably calc it out real quick for you if you'd like.
That's okay. It looks like there's about 22, three singles and 4 quad, 4-seaters.
Yeah, there's for what we're showing here, there's a total of 5 4-seaters, so about 20 seats.
Okay. Thanks.
Commissioners, any other questions for the petitioners? If not, I'll have Matt present the staff report into the record. Matt, thank you, gentlemen, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
First, I request that the report be submitted to the record as written.
A request is granted.
Thank you. So they cover just about everything. You know, the important items that we were looking at were certainly kind of the circulation and the stacking, which, you know, we found to be adequate. You know, the traffic generation, this being an amendment to a larger site plan. We evaluated that against the original site plan, which had the 10,500 square feet of retail. With the restaurant use, it's a smaller building, but, you know, the restaurant use, you know, draws more traffic, but overall the comparison between the two, it's a wash. So there was no, you know, additional impact in that regard. I will point out though that, you know, the intersection of Toohey and Hamlin, which is just to the west of this site, we are looking at the potential for a signal in the future. That's part of IDOT's plans. Graham's BP Amical has an application in which we're reviewing. I had hoped we could bring those together on the same night, but they don't have full approval yet from IDOT. So they're working with them as far as the necessary right-of-way needed for that signal, but we're hoping that can happen sometime in the future. The other important item, you know, this is an amendment to the overall plan, so the existing ordinance will essentially be just amended with the plans for, you know, the Chick-fil-A to replace and, you know, be included in that ordinance. In the ordinance, there are, you know, items of relief that were approved previously. That includes a relief, a curb setback, which, you know, was identified in the original plan. That will be carried forward. And then Joe mentioned the signage on all 3 kind of, you know, access drive frontages and the Toohey frontage. That was another point of relief that was provided. That's been reviewed by the Appearance Commission and approved, and then that would be included in the ordinance as well. So I think the applicant spoke to everything else. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions of staff?
I'd like to ask a question, please, of Matt, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Berman, yes.
So, you know, I'm always a pain about this, but the trash requirement relative to trash receptacles and outdoor dining in the parking area and the 4-hour requirement for policing the property every 4 hours, how does that dealt with shared parking? And I probably should have asked this with Bueno, not recognizing the shared parking, but does it extend that we're going to require trash receptacles in the shared parking and that area be policed every 4 hours as well?
Well, it's not identified specifically in the conditions right now. You can add that, but my expectation would be that they were, you know, it is in, I'm pretty sure it's in the Bueno ordinance.
Standard conditions, I believe.
Yeah, they are standard conditions for
the property itself. Yes, but the shared parking I'm asking about.
Right.
Yes,
So-
Commissioner Berman, if I could speak to that.
Sure.
There is a, I always get the acronym, the initials wrong here. It's an ECR, so it's an easement, covenants and restrictions agreement that binds all 4 lots. It is a recorded document, and it was presented to the village as part of the initial subdivision and initial approvals. So what that document says is the owner of Lot 2 is identified as the operator, a defined term within that agreement, and it is their responsibility for the common area maintenance for that center parking lot. So that center parking lot is owned by the same entity that owns the Bona restaurant. So by virtue of that agreement, Bona Restaurant accepts the responsibility for the maintenance as it's applicable to Lot 2. And then the independent occupants of Lurie's Children's Hospital and Chick-fil-A have the right to exclusively manage the elements of their exclusive lot. But any element that's a common component to the development, that responsibility is vested with the Bona restaurant owner.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Berman, are you satisfied with that answer?
To the extent I understand it, yes, but I don't know that we ever had a requirement that there be, trash receptacles in that other lot with Bueno.
I
So-
don't recall if we did that for Bona.
Yeah. Tim, is that
We do have-
lot 4?
That would be Lot 2, the center lot. So we do have trash receptacles on Lot 1, the Bona lot. We don't have any on Lot 2 per se, but certainly to the degree that the village feels that those are needed from a demand standpoint, that's certainly something we're willing to work with the village on.
If we added that to the condition for the litter pickup, that lot 2 be included, would that be okay? And then we could work on it.
Are you asking Tim?
I'm asking Tim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
again, by virtue of that ECR, that's a recorded document and in place, Bona does have that responsibility today and moving forward. So,
Could you provide us with a copy of that agreement or that part of the agreement?
certainly, Chairman Luke, we'd be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
One other question, and I it's probably a silly question, but it depends on how the dual, I forgot what you referred to it as, but the 2-lane drive-throughs, how many cars can stack up there if they use it as a single lane with, is there ever going to be any situation where it's going to overflow into some of the more common areas?
Well, again, so so you're asking if it's just a single lane or if it's used as
Right.
a dual lane?
Right, I believe the operator was given, or has the ability to use it as a single with some type of bailout lane. So if they used it as a single, is there conceptually the possibility of it overflowing into common areas? Or presumably, I guess the operator would somehow open up that second lane to allow.
Yeah, no, exactly. It'd be the latter. I mean, the intent is that when the drive-through lane does start to stack up and it starts to reach, I'll call the entry point, at that point, that's when the operator, would open up the outer lane to relieve that so that we're not stacking vehicles out beyond the entrance or even into the common areas out here in the access drive. So that's the whole purpose of that outer lane, is to provide that relief valve, if you will.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Berman. Are there any questions from the other commissioners? Okay, very good. Matt, thank you very much. Matt and Tyler, did we receive any comments either by mail or email or on these cases?
No comments were received.
No comments? Okay. All right. Okay. Without further ado then, I'll need a motion on each separate case. So for case 2022-01P, the site plan amendment. Do I have a motion?
One question, do we have to modify either any of those relative to that agreement, I guess, to look at putting trash receptacles in the common area?
You could propose that. I would suggest putting that into the site plan amendment.
Yes.
Okay,
which
so
one?
that is case 2022-01P, the site plan amendment. So this
Okay.
would be the place to put that requirement, Jeff.
Okay, so then I would make a motion to accept the report with the modification that will be discussions and agreements on putting trash receptacles in the common area or the shared parking lot.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second on Commissioner Berman's motion?
Second,
Second,
Thank you, Commissioner Shaw. Okay. Call for the vote. Commissioner Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
yes.
Commissioner Yahoo.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Berman,
Aye.
Commissioner Matei. Did I call Commissioner Matei? Ross, are you still there? Ross,
aye.
thank you. And I'll vote
Do you
aye.
hear me?
Yes, I got your eye. Okay. On case 2022-02P, the special use permit at 3222. Do I have a motion to approve? Or disapprove, or
So moved.
Commissioner Berman? Do I have a second?
Second,
Who was that?
Franklin.
Thank you. Call for the vote. Commissioner Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner Matei,
Aye.
Commissioner Berman,
Aye.
Commissioner Yahoo,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Okay, motion passes. On case 2022-03P, special use permit at 3722E, and this is for the outdoor dining. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Shaw, thank you. I have a second.
I'll second it. Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Berman. Call for the vote. Commissioner Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner Matei,
Aye.
Commissioner Berman,
Aye.
Commissioner Yahoo,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Motion passes. Okay, again, these cases have to go before the Board of Trustees at one of their meetings. And I'm sure you'll all be notified when that meeting will take place. Is there anything else before the commission tonight?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing? Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and welcome to Skokie, and good luck with your project.
Thank you.
You appreciate your time and consideration.
This